There we go. Okay. And then secondly, I have a presentation that we do, which gives the overview, and I can go through that. If you, since there's only you so far, if you have really specific questions about the program that you prefer to get right to, this is for you then. Or, we can run this any way you like, or I could just go through the presentation and maybe your questions will get covered. It says you're trying to connect to audio, so I'm guessing maybe. All right. Well, why don't I go ahead? We'll go through the presentation, and you can also chat me any questions as we go along as well, or pipe up anytime. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and try to find the right screen. There it is. And this is hopefully a fairly compressed thing, but it should cover the basic program backdrop. So we're here to talk tonight about the Westchester Power Program, which is running in Westchester County and launched in Yonkers last year. And so there are some 36,000 residents or so that are part of the program now, but we want to come out and make sure that people are understanding the program and what it's all about. So we have these sessions from time to time. First of all, Sustainable Westchester. It's a nonprofit intermunicipal collaboration. All the towns and villages and cities in Westchester are the members of the organization, and we create programming to service their initiatives that they want to drive forward on sustainability, on renewable energy, solar energy. The Westchester Power is the bulk renewable energy program, building electrification and energy efficiency, transportation. We do work on grid efficiency. So, once you green the power, you still want to use it efficiently. So we have the Grid Rewards program, which is a demand response program. You sign up for it, you get an app, and then 3 or 4 times during the peak hours of the summer, if you cut back your consumption of power by a little bit during that time, you can actually get paid a check that helps them keeps them from having to turn on the big dirty peaker plants that they kick in when they hit these peaks. And you can make $100, $200 just by doing that, and you're still helping the environment with that. And we have activities in recycling, electric landscaping, etc. So tonight we're talking about the core energy program. It's based around energy choice, and that's to say that we can be proactive in what we do about our electricity supply rather than just taking whatever comes by default through the utility. We have the backdrop for this is quite an aggressive program in New York State to try and move to renewable energy. It's one of the most advanced in the country. It has us hitting 70% renewable energy content by 2030. And to get to zero net emissions by 2040. Of course, when we look at that picture, it's you plug electricity in the wall, but it's all the energy usage. And of course, now the biggest chunk is transportation, but housing. And as those electrify, of course, that all shifts over to the electric part of the equation, which means that transitioning to renewable energy is even more important. It gets more leveraged as we go forward. Of course, climate change is the big driver for all this. Some years ago, it was probably a little harder to get people's attention here in the Northeast. It just wasn't as present for us, but now it's becoming an actual real thing. So these big storms that we see, warmer air holds more moisture. And so when it dumps harder. That's why you get these big, the 100-year storms are now once every few years now. And that's why Buffalo gets 8 feet of snow this year. So it's coming. And the more we can do now to mitigate that, is going to be cheaper than trying to fix the problem later on. It's also an equity issue because, of course, the people on the fringes are the folks that get hit hardest with some of these events, whether it be on the health side because of heat islands in the urban areas, or of course air quality issues, and of course just financially they're less able to endure the stresses of these big climate events. It's also been a fact that many of the resources that we had applied to try to address these problems have generally tended to go to some of the better off communities because, in a sense, they're more resourced to receive it. So we need to make sure we're designing programs that are addressing that as well, and trying to bring these resources into the let's say low-income areas and things like that. So in sum, the backdrop is mitigating climate change, trying to move to renewable energy, improve the sort of traditional environmental things that we think of, air quality. And at the same time, it's all about this sort of green transition and the economy and the jobs that that's going to create. We don't want to be AWOL on that. We want to be having our residents in Westchester County be able to move into those areas as well. So that's the backdrop for the program. The program is, as I say, sort of the cornerstone of the energy work that the county is doing, that Sustainable Westchester is doing. Our programs are opt-in for the municipalities. That's to say, we create this programming, we design it, we administer it, and then individual municipality decides whether they want to be in one or the other. So in Westchester Power, we're up to 29 of the 40, that depends on how you count them, 45 odd municipalities are participating in this. And then up to about a third or 40% of the residents of Westchester County are now part of these programs in the municipalities that you see here. And Yonkers was the latest to come in as of last year, and that makes Yonkers the biggest city in the state participating in this type of what they call community choice aggregation program. We don't call on residents to become electrical engineers when they want to deal with their electricity supply, but it is good to understand the basics in terms of what's on your bill. And there's basically two sectors. One is the delivery. That's what the utility is going to do for you no matter what. They're going to manage the wires and the maintenance and the storm recovery, all the infrastructure, the billing, the actual issuance of the bill. All that is always going to be with the utility. Con Edison in the southern part of Westchester, the northern municipalities in Westchester are with New York State Electric and Gas. And then you have the supply portion, which is basically you deciding, or it's the where your energy is produced. You're deciding who's dumping the electricity into the grid on your behalf, because you don't know, you can't track an electron to your house, but you can decide by your purchase of whether you're getting clean electricity or standard, grid dirty electricity, or being proactive about that purchase. So that's what we're talking about here, is the energy purchase part of that, not the utility distribution side. And if you don't select a supplier, like for years you could have signed on with an ASCO, which is basically the equivalent of what we're doing, but at the individual level. But if you don't do anything, then by default, Con Edison is also supplying your energy, and they take whatever comes off of the New York ISO market, basically at the time, at whatever price it comes off at. So in summation, the program obviously is about using our collective power to address this proactivity in our purchasing. It's about moving more renewable energy and making that transition to clean energy. We purchase on a fixed rate basis these days. That's to say we'll do a 1 year, a 2 year, or a 3 year contract where the rates will be fixed during that time. That's again a contrast with the utility rates, which are going up and down depending on where the market goes. And the program serves as sort of a launching pad for some of the other programming that I talked about with community solar programs and the demand response, we're working on things like virtual power plants with having individuals putting batteries in their homes and then being able to treat that as a power plant and bidding it to markets and things like that. So it's this base of the Westchester Power Program has given us the ability to go out and create even more programming. Very important in terms of the basics of the program. Number one, it's an opt-out format, which is not necessarily a totally intuitive name, but what it means is when the municipality joins in on this program, it becomes the default for the municipality. And that is to say, if you don't raise your hand to opt out, you are automatically enrolled into the program. And you get a notification letter before that happens. It gives you all the details of the program, all the contact information if you want to opt out or you want to change supply. We haven't talked about that. That's below. But if you don't do anything, then you're rolling in. That's called an opt-out format. The second, and kind of mirror to that, is that it's created with no opt-out fees or contracts or penalties or anything like that. So you can go in and out at any time. If you decide it's not the place for you to be, there's a better place to be, or you want to go back to Con Ed, or you want to sign up with some other ESCO, you can always do that at any time. There's no charge to come in and out, or even you go out and then you decide, wait a minute, it's, you know, you're better off with us, you can come back in. They say there's two supplies. The Yonkers default is the renewable energy, but there is also a standard supply, and that is a little bit cheaper. It's a standard grid supply, such as Con Ed would provide. And we want to make sure that people know that's out there. We, of course, are trying to promote the renewable energy, but for a lot of people, if that's the place they want to be, we make it very easy for them to switch and move over to the standard supply if that's more attractive to them for whatever reason. It's important to know, since it is a fixed rate program and the Con Ed rates are going up and down month to month, and we can't predict what those are, we can never tell people, oh, we guarantee you're going to save, or we know you're going to save. We just have to avoid that savings word with respect to what's going to happen in the future. We just don't know. But it's kind of an insurance policy again with the fixed rate. You can always opt out if you see Con Ed's rates going lower, or you have some other option. But relative to the utility, we can't predict. So we have to make sure that people understand there's not some kind of guaranteed that you're going to save against the utility. We like including this picture where our renewable energy is based on New York State hydropower, and it's a lot of these little dams and reservoirs upstate generally, and they're very pretty places. Generally, they're like parks, and I like to think like if you're going to be near a power generating place, you'd much rather be near one of these than some gas-fired generation plant. So it's not really clean sort of coming into our homes, but it's clean where the power is generated. So in terms of the overall sort of program mission, it's about coming together in a vetted program. You're not out there dealing with these ESCOs on your own, which we know, sometimes you can do just fine, and there's some good companies, but there's also some rogue outfits out there, and you don't have to deal with all that. You get the cost control out of the fixed rate. And a big part is education, not only events like these, but even people calling us on the phone and just asking us questions about their bill. So it's about education. And of course, again, the climate change factor. So turning then to the specifics of the Yonkers contract. Again, when I say contract, this is the contract and essentially for the supplier. They are committed to supplying at the rates shown there for the duration of the contract. For any Yonkers resident that wants to come in or out, if they come in, if they're in the program, they enjoy these rates. It's not a contract for the resident who participates, as I say, because they can come in or out. They don't actually sign anything. It's kind of an implied contract for the supplier to the resident in that sense, but there's no contract for you. But this contract term is during this period, these rates will be apply. Note that villages and cities in New York State assess a gross receipts tax, and to our frustration, that tax is just added right to the rate on your bill without any explanation. No itemization, so sometimes it could be confusing. So you're going to see that 8.71 cents is going to be 8.71, times 1.03, or adding 3% to it is what the actual number is going to show as. So that's what the contract situation is, and it's not necessarily easy to find everything on your bill, but you will see when you're with us with the Westchester Power program, you're going to see the supplier name, which is Constellation New Energy, and if you were with some other ESCO, you'd see another name. If you had signed up separately, and you would not see that at all if you were with Con Ed. This price here is, I think, from another contract. This is just an image that was used for this purpose here. So that's where you see that on your bill. And again, this information is available. It's in the opt-out letter. You go to our website, sustainablewestchester.org, and go to the Westchester Power Program. You'll find all this information as well. But there's 3 different ways to make any transaction: to opt in, opt out. And we do get people who opt in. They were with an ESCO and they came out of it, or they were with Con Ed and had a block on their account. You can opt in as well. So you can do that online, of course. We have an online form, very easy, putting in your Con Ed number and filling in a little bit of information, your name and address and whatnot. And that's an easy way to do it. You can also email us or call our office directly to do that at the number 242-4725, extension 111. And that is basically the overview of the program. We want to make sure, again, that people have an understanding of it. Everybody's busy, and you may have just seen this on your bill and wondered, why you were in it, because you somehow maybe thought the original letter was junk mail. I don't blame you. Everybody gets swamped with this stuff. We do have the city seal on it, and hope that it stands out a bit, but that does happen. So we want to give folks a chance to learn about the program, and again, about the other things that we're doing. I had a session at lunchtime today, and I introduced some of the resources we have around building energy efficiency. People can go to our site and check for some of the incentives, and our staff are very much ready to help if you're looking to increase your efficiency of your heating system or insulation or things like that. So that's the overview. I hope that was useful, and certainly if you have any questions, John, please feel free. Let me just check. Nothing in the chat at this point. But if there's nothing else, hopefully you took down our contact information. If you ever have any questions about your bill, how to read it, or anything like that, feel free. Otherwise, if that's it, then I very much thank you for taking the time to listen in and learn more about the program. All right, and I wish you a wonderful evening. Take care now. Good night.